Gentlemen, what I'm about to tell you may shock you, because thousands of senior men across America are quietly discovering a simple nightly ritual that is helping them restore powerful blood flow, stronger erections, and the confidence they thought was gone forever. And it has nothing to do with Viagra, Cialis, testosterone injections, or risky surgeries. In fact, many men are seeing dramatic improvement using nothing more than a few drops of castor oil applied to 3 precise points on the body before bed. For many of you, the pain runs deeper than physical. You pretend everything is fine, but inside you feel the fear of failing again. The frustration of wanting intimacy, but avoiding it because you're terrified your body won't respond. The loneliness of lying awake at night wondering, why can't I be the man I used to be? Watching your partner turn away quietly, not out of rejection, but heartbreak. Feeling the embarrassment that steals your confidence, your identity, your marriage. And here's the paradox that most men never hear. The real problem is not desire, not age, not hormones. It is blocked blood flow. And the solution does not start inside your body, but on the surface of your skin. Because if you apply castor oil to these 3 specific points tonight, you may begin feeling warmth, pulsing circulation, and renewed function in as little as 24 hours. Gentlemen, my name is Dr. Jocelyn, urologist and women's health advocate turned men's vitality specialist for over 25 years. And I tell you this with the compassion of someone who has listened to thousands of men share what they could never say to anyone else. Today, I will show you exactly how this works. Before we continue, if this message is already speaking to you, make sure you subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another men's health lesson designed specifically for seniors fighting to reclaim strength, confidence, and intimacy. And do me one favor. If you believe every man deserves this knowledge, type 1 in the comments. If you're unsure, type 0 and tell me what you need. Now let's go straight into the science behind this breakthrough and why it works. 1. The real reason blood flow fails after age 60. Most men are never told the truth. One day, without warning, the body that once responded instantly, fiercely, confidently, simply stops performing. It doesn't happen all at once. It starts quietly. Not just of sexual function, but of closeness, of identity, of manhood. Doctors brush it off. It's normal at your age, they say. Just take a pill. But you've tried the pills. You know the humiliation of waiting for something that doesn't happen. You know the headaches, the pounding heart, the feeling that you're forcing your body instead of trusting it. You know the pain of acting like everything is fine while drowning silently inside. But here is what almost no one tells you. The real reason erections weaken, energy collapses, and vitality fades after 60 is not simply aging, not low testosterone, not even desire. It is blood flow. When blood can no longer travel freely through arteries that have become narrow, stiff, and inflamed, the body cannot respond no matter how much willpower or passion you have. The fire is there, but the fuel cannot reach it. The spirit is willing, but the pathway is blocked. Yet, and this is where everything changes, the body is not broken. Blood flow can be restored. The river that has slowed to a trickle can surge again. What is weakened can wake, and what you fear is lost can return stronger and more meaningful than before. And here's the part that keeps men awake after hearing it. The solution to unlocking blood flow may not begin inside your body at all. It may begin on the surface of your skin, using something so simple, so natural, and so overlooked that it feels almost impossible to believe. But once you understand the science behind it, everything suddenly makes sense. Stay with me, because in the next section, you will learn exactly why this overlooked method works and why thousands of men are quietly turning to it to reclaim what they thought was gone forever. 2. Why castor oil works, the science behind it. Here is something that will shock you. Some of the most powerful breakthroughs in men's health are not found in pharmacies, hospitals, or high-priced clinics. They are hidden in plain sight, in remedies that have been used for centuries, abandoned not because they stopped working, but because modern medicine forgot to look back. Castor oil is one of them. Most men think of it as an old household product, something a grandmother kept in a dusty bottle in the kitchen cabinet. They have no idea that inside that simple amber liquid lies one of the most potent natural healing compounds for circulation, inflammation, nerve activation, and hormonal balance. It contains a unique fatty acid called ricinoleic acid, capable of penetrating deeply through the layers of skin and stimulating blood vessels, nerves, and lymphatic channels directly beneath the surface. When absorbed, it increases nitric oxide levels, the very molecule responsible for widening arteries and allowing blood to flow freely. Men pay hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars for nitric oxide supplements, injections, and medications, never realizing that a natural source has existed for generations, ignored because it isn't profitable. The truth is painful. Millions of aging men are suffering unnecessarily, believing their bodies are failing, when in reality, their blood simply isn't reaching the places where life is meant to ignite. They carry shame for something that is not their fault. And all the while, a quiet, natural solution waits untouched, offering warmth where there has been coldness, strength where there has been weakness, and hope where there has been silence. Castor oil wakes up the places that have gone numb. When it touches the skin, it signals dilation of blood vessels, softening of hardened tissues, and reawakening of nerves that have been dormant. Men describe a sensation they haven't felt in years. Warmth spreading, pulsing returning, a feeling of life moving again. It is not magic. It is biology. When blood flows, a man comes back to himself. And here is what is often overlooked. When castor oil is massaged into specific pressure points, its effects multiply dramatically. Instead of acting randomly, it targets the exact pathways that control pelvic circulation, prostate health, and sexual response. The right points, activated the right way, open the gates that aging has slowly closed. But this only works if you know where to apply it. There are 3 critical locations that control the flow of blood into the pelvic and reproductive system. 3 points powerful enough to change everything if activated correctly. 3. Point number 1, lower abdomen. Most men have no idea that the first and most powerful control center for blood flow to the pelvis is hiding right beneath their own hands. Countless men spend years swallowing pills, draining their finances, and losing hope, never realizing that the key to restoring firmness, warmth, and circulation is located just 2 to 3 inches below the belly button. Place your hand on your lower abdomen for a moment. Feel that space between your navel and the top of your pubic bone. Beneath that thin layer of skin lies a network of arteries responsible for delivering blood to the prostate, bladder, pelvic floor, and penis. When those arteries become thick, rigid, and inflamed with age, the body loses its ability to respond. It doesn't matter how much desire you have. Without blood, nothing happens. Desire turns to disappointment, hope turns to humiliation, and slowly, silently, you begin to disconnect from the man you once were. Blood flow does not decline overnight. It narrows slowly, tightening year after year until one day the body reaches a breaking point. The first time it happens, you tell yourself it's stress. The second time, maybe you blame exhaustion. But eventually, fear replaces confidence. That is why applying warm castor oil to this exact point can create such dramatic change. The ricinoleic acid penetrates deeply, relaxing the arterial walls, reducing inflammation, and stimulating circulation directly into the pelvic system. It is like opening a locked door and allowing life to rush back into a room long forgotten. Men often describe the sensation the very first time. A gentle warmth spreading downward, a pulsing they haven't felt in years, a quiet sense of awakening. That warmth is not imagination. It is blood returning. It is hope being reborn. 4. Point number 2, the perineum. Here is something almost no man is prepared to hear. The single most powerful location that controls erections, stamina, and pelvic blood flow is a place most men never touch, never think about, and often feel uncomfortable acknowledging. This point sits in the space between the testicles and the anus, a region called the perineum. What many men do not realize is that this small, hidden area controls the nerves, blood vessels, and muscle fibers that power erectile function. When it weakens, everything weakens. When it awakens, everything changes. The penis is not the engine. It is the receiver. The perineum is the powerhouse that pumps blood into the penis and supports the pressure needed to maintain firmness. Once pelvic floor muscles begin to weaken with age, blood cannot stay where it needs to be. Think about the first time you realized something was changing. You reached for your partner, expecting what had always been there. But instead of confidence, there was doubt. Instead of response, there was silence. You tried again, harder, hoping effort would fix what was breaking. And when it didn't, disappointment spread through your chest like a storm. Now imagine placing warm castor oil gently onto the perineum, massaging slowly for 2 or 3 quiet minutes. Imagine blood moving again, nerves waking up, warmth spreading through the pelvis like a rising tide. Men describe this sensation with words almost whispered: alive, awakened, returning. They speak of feeling something they thought was gone forever. When combined with the lower abdominal point, men often notice change faster than they believed possible. Because unlocking the perineum is like turning on the power supply, allowing blood to move with purpose rather than struggle. 5. Point number 3, inner ankles. What I am about to tell you may sound unbelievable at first. One of the most overlooked and powerful control switches for pelvic circulation is not located anywhere near the pelvis at all. It sits just behind the inner ankle bone, less than an inch above the top of the heel. In traditional medical systems and modern neurological mapping, this point is known to influence blood flow, kidney filtration, hormonal signal pathways, and the vascular channels that ultimately determine how well blood reaches the organs responsible for sexual performance. The body is built as a network, not isolated parts. When blood struggles to travel upward from the feet and calves, the body begins prioritizing survival organs like the heart and brain. The reproductive system is among the first functions the body sacrifices when circulation weakens. Cold feet are not just an inconvenience, they are a warning signal. Now imagine sitting on the edge of your bed, applying warm castor oil gently into that point just behind the inner ankle, massaging slowly as warmth begins to rise, climbing your legs like a tide returning after a long withdrawal. Men describe the sensation as if something locked deep inside begins to open. When this point is combined with the lower abdomen and the perineum, the body responds like a circuit completing. Warmth spreads, blood rises, and control returns with a sense of dignity many men thought they would never experience again. 6. What men experience after 7 to 14 days. Let me tell you something that may surprise you deeply. Many men who begin this routine expecting nothing often report their first real change in as little as 7 to 14 days. Not months, not years, days. It often starts quietly. A man wakes up one morning and realizes his body feels different, warmer, stronger. He notices a heaviness he hasn't felt in years. Blood is moving. Oxygen is returning. Some men report the return of morning erections they believed were gone permanently. They describe that moment with a mixture of shock, relief, and quiet tears. And for many, the most powerful change doesn't happen in the bedroom at all. It happens at the dinner table, on the couch, in the way their partner looks at them again with warmth instead of concern, with hope instead of sadness. The silence between them begins to break. Hands begin to reach again. A spark returns. And almost every man says the same sentence: I thought I was too old. I thought it was over. I was wrong. 7. Step-by-step nightly routine for maximum results. Restoring blood flow is not about intensity or trying harder. It is about guiding the body back into balance and giving it the conditions it needs to recover. The routine begins by warming the castor oil. Not hot, not cold, warm, like comfort in the palm of your hand. Apply it to the lower abdomen, massaging gently in circles, letting the warmth spread deeply into the pelvis. Next, the perineum. As you apply the oil there, slowly, carefully, something begins to shift. Men say they feel a quiet pulse, a throb of life. Then the inner ankles, the overlooked gateway that pulls circulation upward. Many men feel warmth climbing through the legs. Finally, lie back in silence for 10 minutes. No pressure, no performance, just breathing. This is not just a technique, it is a ritual, a way of honoring the body that has carried you through decades of work, responsibility, and sacrifice. 8. A real patient story. A few months ago, a man named Michael, 72 years old, walked into my office with his shoulders slumped and his eyes heavy with something deeper than exhaustion. He told me he felt like he was disappearing inside his own life. He still loved his wife deeply, but intimacy had vanished, replaced by silence and distance. He described lying awake listening to his wife cry quietly beside him. He whispered that he felt like he wasn't a husband anymore. He had tried everything: pills, pumps, supplements, and each failure cut deeper. When he learned about the castor oil routine, he almost didn't try, but something pushed him to begin. On the 9th night, he woke before sunrise and felt warmth, weight, strength. He sat on the edge of his bed and cried. His body was alive again. He woke his wife gently. She saw the hope in his face before anything else. They held each other and wept, not from sadness, but relief. 2 weeks later, they walked into my office holding hands. I asked what changed the most. He didn't mention erections. He said, "I feel like I have my life back. I'm not afraid anymore." That is the real transformation. Not just physical, but dignity. Not just blood flow, but identity. Not just intimacy, but connection. 9. Final message from the heart. Gentlemen, if you are still here with me, it tells me something important about you. It tells me you are not a man who gives up easily. You have carried pain quietly, held your dignity tightly, and continued to fight even when it felt like everything was slipping away. I want to speak to you now, not just as your doctor, but as someone who has sat across from thousands of men and witnessed the courage it takes to ask for help. I have held space for your silence. I have seen what it costs you, and I want you to know you are not alone and this is not over. There comes a moment in every man's life when he must choose: surrender to decline or refuse to be defined by it. Accept the silence or decide to break it. Real strength is the courage to rise again after falling. Real strength is saying, "I am not done yet." I have seen men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s reclaim their vitality, their marriages, and their futures. Not through magic, but through determination. They made a decision to stop letting shame write their story. They chose action over fear, hope over silence. You have heard tonight the truth about blood flow, the science behind castor oil, the power of 3 simple points, and the stories of men who were once standing exactly where you are now. You know now your body is not broken. You know now the first step is always the hardest, not because it is difficult, but because it requires belief. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you believed in yourself without hesitation? When was the last time you allowed hope to speak louder than fear? Tonight can be that moment. 10 minutes, 3 points, a bottle of castor oil. A choice to stop watching life slip away and start fighting for the man you still are. Because if you take this step, you are not just applying oil. You are applying belief. You are telling your body, "Wake up, I'm still here." You are telling your heart, "This is not over." And when you look back months from today, will you remember this moment as the night you changed everything or the night you walked away? The answer is in your hands.